Here's another important video from the Personal Defense Network.
Let's look at a situation if we were inside of that vehicle and we needed to defend ourselves with a firearm. Of course, we have someone else there. If we were both armed, it would make sense that the person in the passenger seat would worry more about the actual defensive use of a firearm, if at all possible, and allow the person in the driver's seat to use the vehicle to actually get away from the problem. If we were static, if we were sitting here in this parking lot and involved in a situation where we couldn't get away and I was forced to use a firearm, of course I'd take the firearm from my concealment position or from a storage position inside of the vehicle and go to some type of a ready position from which I could respond in 360 degrees around me. Of course, without interfering as much as possible with the driver and certainly without endangering them from my attempt to protect us. If I were going to have to engage a target that were out the passenger side window, of course, with the window up, I wouldn't be able to simply extend out fully towards a threat, or maybe the threat's very close to the vehicle. What I'd want to do is actually move my body so that I get into a position where I can orient the firearm without going through the window, can actually stay within that boundary. Of course, it'd be the same exact thing if I were to go forward with the windshield in front. I wouldn't lean forward, jamming the gun into the window. I'd actually lean backwards, maybe get lower, so that I could orient the firearm into my line of sight, engaging a threat outside, whether I was using sight alignment or threat focus, and I was actually using my balance of speed and precision to determine whether I'm focused on the threat or the sight. That either way, I'm going to be extending out fully because I can in this particular vehicle. If the vehicle had a windshield that was closer to me or I was up closer to it, of course I may not get into full extension, but I'm still going to orient the firearm as safely as I can. To the rear would similarly allow us to cross without covering ourselves or the person next to us. We could turn and extend the firearm back into that direction also in our line of sight. What's important to now realize is the worst case scenario would of course be if we had to cross the driver. We wouldn't want to just simply extend the firearm out into here where the muzzle blast or something else could catch this person off guard, perhaps injure them. Of course, if they're driving, we don't want to be able to interfere with what's going on there. And we also don't want them to get scared and knock the firearm offline. If I were to extend out this way to engage a threat and Tom were to just see this gun, it'd be a natural reaction for him to flinch and fear, and obviously this could lead to a very dangerous situation with him being covered by the muzzle or perhaps deflecting the shot into some place we don't want it to go. The worst case scenario, of course, being that I wouldn't be able to engage the threat and actually significantly affect their ability to hurt us. So what I'm going to want to do is use my offhand to protect Tom and either hold his arms down, hold his body back, perhaps even avert his face away so that if I extend it out, I could then get that shot in a way that significantly affects the target's ability to present a lethal threat towards us without hurting him. Of course, I could also move Tom down and forward if I needed to come across between us without covering him and engage a threat more towards the rear driver side of the car, or even straight across, keeping him down as I cross over and extend out, keeping him in a safe position outside of my muzzle and maybe even making him safer as he were looking for keys or trying to get the vehicle started. Or of course, if we were in a traffic or a configuration situation where we couldn't move the vehicle and I had to respond with the firearm. Understanding how to use the firearm in a safe multiple person environment inside of a car, keeping control of the muzzle, keeping your muzzle awareness, and controlling the other person when necessary can be very important. Planning ahead, having a coordinated plan, and then of course in the middle of a scenario communicating and cooperating with each other to maintain that safe area, to maintain safe muzzle discipline, and to make sure that you stop the threat or get away from the threat as quickly as possible are going to be key components of your multiple person survival situation during a critical incident, multiple people inside of a vehicle.
Check out more videos just like this one at the Personal Defense Network.